Alright guys, MTech Guy here. We've got a nice mug of Yorkshire tea on the go here at the moment, and I thought we'd just bask in the glory that is the E60 M5. This filthy mess of a car that I've got at... Shut up! Bought a house by the seaside, didn't sign up for this nonsense. Anyhow, thought we'd just take in the glory that is the E60 M5, but this filthy mess of a car I've got at the minute, as much as I hate to say it, I've kind of neglected it over the last 3 weeks. I've been busy with the little 1 Series, the E87, doing a few jobs, making a few videos, but this has just sat for about 3 weeks out in the weather. It's been pretty cold lately as well. I was a bit worried about the battery sort of depleting its voltage. So this morning I took it out for a drive, had to go and pick some parts up, and oh man, what a treat. It felt absolutely lovely to drive. Now, as much as I love the little 1 Series, and it just fits the bill perfectly, serves the purpose perfectly for what I bought it for. You know, it's a nippy wee car for getting around town, small and easy to park, banging it through the gears with that manual gearbox. Yeah, it's a lovely little car to drive, but I'm not going to lie to you, it's a bit of a bone shaker. I don't know, there's something off with the shocks on that car. I don't know if they're rated incorrectly from the factory, or it's more than likely they're just worn out. I want to get a decent set of Bilsteins on it eventually. Between that and the seats that aren't that comfortable, and my 41-year-old spine, yeah, it's put it this way, it was a real treat to get in the E60 today. Oh man, it just felt so lovely to drive. The seats are so comfortable, listening to that engine scream, you know, the old S85 V10, banging it through the gearbox. I get excited about it all the time, and I have to admit, the longer I own it, the more I like it. It's certainly the best car I've ever owned. And you know, when BMW were churning out these cars in the mid-2000s, like, oh, what an era. You know, some people call it the German muscle car era. Now, I wouldn't call it the muscle car era. They don't have the low-end torque like a Chevy or a Dodge. But there's something about these engines, high horsepower, screaming V8s, screaming V10s. And it's a bit of a shame to see the way things are going now. I've lost them naturally aspirated engines, and even the M5 that came out after this, well, you look at it and it looks about the size of a 7 Series, and then the styling, the sound of the engine, even though it's got more horsepower than this thing, it's just like, oh, really? I feel like I'm falling asleep, you know? And it's not that they're bad cars, you know, they're bloody fast, but it just doesn't give you the fizz like this thing does, you know? A lot of people getting excited about the electric cars now, especially the Teslas and all the design and engineering that goes in behind them, but they're never going to give you goosebumps like one of these things, eh? Anyhow, it was really nice to get out in this thing and have a drive this morning. I've got some charge in the battery. It has been pretty cold here lately. Like I say, the car's sat for 3 weeks. It's been like 2 degrees in the morning just lately. Of course, it's winter here in the southern hemisphere, and I was getting a bit anxious about the battery depleting, but yeah, jumped in it fired up fine. One thing it did do, had the DSC light come on and the tyre pressure monitoring light come up also. So once I'd let it warm up, switched it off, turned the ignition back on, and that had cleared. So I imagine there might have just been a slight voltage drop that was causing that. When I filled it up with fuel, went on my way, got home, used about nearly half a tank of fuel. Of course, with this thing, it's a petrolholic engine and a petrol tank that's about the size of a teacup, you know, but it is what it is, it's all part of it. So why did I buy a little 1 Series E87 130i? Well, since I sold my E46 coupe, which I'd owned for 9 years, I was hankering after another BMW. Now, to be honest, I really wanted another M car. I was thinking maybe E92, M3, even an M6, but M6, they're kind of the same sort of thing as these, and I'm getting to the point with this car now where I've done heaps of videos. It'll be more or less the same thing for the channel. Now, I've still got videos in the pipeline I want to do for this for sure, and my channel's going to remain primarily based around the E60 M5. And then with the M3s, I thought about it for a little while, and of course they've just rocketed up in value like most M cars, and it's just the prices they're at now, I just can't justify it. So with this thing, how it drinks fuel, and also the family wagon, the E53 X5, decided on something just more economical on fuel, and something that's going to be great just for shooting around town, but something that'll be exciting to drive, you know. I wanted a traditional manual, and the 130i's seem to have a bit of a cult following, so yeah, I thought I'd take the plunge, get into one of them, and it's worked out such a great little car, you know. I've got a lot of videos I want to get done on it. I put a video out recently on whether the E60 M5 is a reliable car or not, and this was just based on my thoughts. not being influenced about anything else that's on the internet, and to be honest, I got some really good responses for that, and thank you to everybody who watched it and commented. That was really cool. And since the inception of this YouTube channel, I've always endeavoured to speak the truth, and it's not always what brings in the views or brings in the revenue, unfortunately, but it is what it is. That's the nature of YouTube. But anyhow, you guys that are into E60 M5s, let me know if there's anything in particular you want to see on the channel. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll see what I can do. I do have a number of videos in the pipeline that I want to get done on this car, so stay tuned for that. But anyhow, the M5's looking pretty filthy at the moment. I want to give it a good clean up today, good snow foam, get it cleaned up, give it a bit of love, get it looking sharp again. Look at the state of this, look. Watermarks all over it. Alright, let's get into it. Alright guys, the car's clean now. What do you want me to tell you? I'll tell you what, you can't beat a black car when it's clean, eh? And these E60s are a handsome looking car now, especially the M5. Poor old Chris Bangle got a lot of flack back in the day, but you got to take your hat off to him. This car's 15 years old now and it still doesn't look old. It's aged really well. Alright guys, make sure you give the video a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I'm MTech Guy. Thanks a lot for watching.